Hello, everyone. I am Curt Doty with RealmIQ, and we're here for another RealmIQ session. This time we have Yakup Özkardes-Cheung. Hope I said that right, Yakup.
That's
Um,
perfect.
but we're so happy to have you on the show and love what you're doing. Love the advocacy that you're doing for AI. And just tell us, briefly about your background and because it's very interesting and also the tools that you're using and the tools you developed for AI. So,
Mhm. Yeah, thanks for having me, first of all. That's always a pleasure being on podcasts and on live shows, especially from the US. It's always very inspiring to speak with people overseas. So, yeah, thanks for that one first. Yeah, so my history, I worked as a journalist. I have some journalist background. I worked as a digital editor for different publications. I worked for newspaper, for TV stations, for online magazines, for print magazines. Yeah, and then from a journalist, I became a content manager. So I was in charge of digital assets like podcasts, like blog article, Facebook, LinkedIn strategies, things like that for corporations, for smaller, medium enterprises. And then 2020, I basically started my own business as a content manager and started creating content for different clients, basically. And AI was always a thing. So I went to seminars, to workshops. I listened to speakers about AI. And I did this already 2017 when I was an employee, but it was not something that landed on my day job. So it was a little bit like, oh, there are all these AI tools out there, and I was the only one, the only journalist who was inspired by these AI tools. The other journalists, they were a little bit like, well, the AI needs a couple more years until they have the quality like a journalist. I was the only one who was excited. The other journalists were more like afraid, and they were frightened for the about the technology, and there was the basic fear that they are going to be replaced. So that was within the room. So yeah, I forgot all these AI things. I started my own business, like I mentioned, and then I got this pitch by a German software company, and it was basically a bad pitch. So the conditions were too expensive, and it was strange. He said, "Well, we can't combine your social media accounts with our tool." I was a little bit frustrated, and I said, "Okay, you know what? I can do this myself better." And that was the turning point. I started to buy AI tools. So I bought writing assistants and realized, okay, these tools save me a ton of time when it comes to text production. So that was 2 years, 2.5 years before ChatGPT was cool and in the media. So I create, instead of spending 8 hours, 8 to 9 hours for a blog article, I spent 3 or 4 hours for one blog article. So it saved me a lot of time. It made my clients happy. And I realized at that point, okay, I have to go full all in this niche because it helps me, it helps also my clients. It's a win-win. And I bought several writing assistants and tested them. And then it went to video production, so creating videos with AI avatars. It went to video snippet generator tools like, I mean, you can use this recording from the Zoom call and upload it on an AI tool and then create video snippets in Gary Vee style and distribute it over your channels. So video generating AI tools, audio generating AI tools where you can train AI tools with your voice and create based on your own voice podcast episodes so that you create your own voice with a voice model. And then also image generation, which, I mean, DALL-E 2 was the starting point of this crazy journey since last year, December.
yes.
So how to create images, basically. So that's what I call it in my book, the 5 areas of content territories. So the 5 areas. So text production, video generating video snippets, deep fake soft videos, AI generated videos, audio generation, and image generation. The 5 areas. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, you were an early adopter, and we like people who adopt. We have a phrase called "adopt or perish," which sounds a little extreme, but I think it's true. You're not going to get replaced by robots, but you're going to be replaced by someone who's trained on AI. I think that is the future. I have a question about deep fakes because I've heard
Mhm.
you talk about deep fakes. You demonstrate all this technology, and I'm I have a concern. I'm a branding guy, and I deal with naming and communication, and I think AI has a branding problem because of the use of robots, which supports the dystopian doomsday scenario. And so if you don't use robots, then it's about people, and people use software, and I think it's a lot better playground to play in than constantly using robots for your imagery. But specifically about deep fakes. So I've heard, I mean, to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, deep fake is a negative because it's been used for malicious purposes and people peg it. They say, oh, that's a deep fake. It's not real. Don't pay attention to it. But, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when you talk about deep fakes, you're you're presenting it as a good thing because you're saying it's technology that assimilates your persona and your body and your voice, and you make these videos. So, but you have the positive context, but you still call it deep fakes, and I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
have you thought about that, or should you call it something else? I don't know. It's up for discussion, but I hate when there are negative examples out there and then people complain about them and say, oh, that's a deep fake, and that's a problem, right? And so what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a good point. So deepfake, indeed, it has a negative connotation, and that's the reason why I also call them sometimes synthetic media, which is a synonym. So you can, which is, but I mean, deepfake consists of this word of fake, which most people combine as a fake news, basically. So, I mean, when it comes to technology, there are always people who misuse technology, but I'm more the optimistic guy. Yes, of course, there are people still misusing this technology, and we need some rules, and the governments are working on it. We have the AI Act, for example, in Europe. When it comes to, there are a couple of ideas how to make sure that this technology is not misused, like labeling the videos or making sure that when you use AI generating text writing assistants, that you write down this is produced by an AI writing assistant, things like that.
Yeah.
So I think, but back to your point, I think when I'm speaking with clients, for example, I always say AI videos with avatars. I
Yeah.
don't use deepfake. So back to your point, I don't, I try not to use it because I know that people think of something negative. But synthetic media is an alternative.
I
But
like
also,
synthetic media. I think that
mm,
really accurately describes it.
yeah,
uh, avatars, yes, is acceptable. Unfortunately, Meta and their metaverse world tried to define what avatars would be, so it gets down that road, even though Meta's new avatars are totally photoreal.
yeah,
um, but synthetic media, I haven't heard as much of that, and I do like that. So continue to use that, and maybe I'm going to use that too, because it's a good description. Because I saw your inspiring videos with Colossian, and
yeah.
I said I gotta try that, and so now I have Colossian videos throughout my website because they introduce each of my blog articles and
That's cool.
sections of my website, and I love it. I've become a master at it, and
That's cool.
it's fantastic, right? And so, and because of you, I got introduced to that. So thank you very much.
Appreciate it. But it's still like it's strange. So I'm a big AI enthusiast, but still I always say, if you have the chance, grab a camera, stay in front of the camera, and then start talking and do your live show, whatever you want to do, produce it yourself. So that's humans always outbeat algorithms and also AI. So if you have the chance, the opportunity, do it yourself.
Yeah.
But there's a big but. There are many companies. Like I had one software company, and they have no manpower, or they don't have the time, or they don't have the money for hiring a big video production company, or they don't have the resources to do it. Then it is a good alternative to use these kinds of tools that you mentioned, like Colossian.
Yeah.
So I tested several of these video production tools, and Colossian, in my opinion, I interviewed also the former CEO, has the biggest potential because they are evolving it very fast. And yeah, I see the benefits, and we always have to remember we're just at the beginning. There was this McKinsey report this June, I think, this year, which mentioned also that we're just at the beginning of generative AI.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just the beginning, and especially for video, I see so much potential, which is coming, and yeah, that's the reason why I'm also a video fan.
Yeah. No, I agree. We're at the tip of the iceberg, and I think it requires those with imagination to figure out how to use them, because
Yeah,
the technology is, it comes off as a gimmick. Oh, it's a fake person, and people don't. It just goes over their head in terms of the potential uses, and so it takes creative people like yourself to say, no, this can be your virtual salesperson or your virtual chatbot to help you with questions, because as you know, chatbots, it's like that's all scripted. You're not talking to a human being during that whole process. But if people feel like they are talking to a human being, or a human being is at least presenting these options of, click a button to tell us exactly what your problem is, then it's a personable approach
yes,
versus, chatbots, have a negative connotation historically, because all you want to do is speak to some damn human being, right? And
yes,
it won't allow you. It's like, and there's no contact number on the website. It's like, Jesus, can I just talk to someone?
yeah,
So, at least this can be a bridge, that human bridge, even though it's synthetic media, to a good customer experience. So I'm excited about it, and I'm an advocate. I'm pushing it on my clients now to say this is the way you need to deal with sales calls and sales instructions and demos and all that, because you literally write the script. You were going to write the script anyway.
yeah,
Write the script and have an avatar deliver it. It's fantastic.
yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. I appreciate also the words, and super excited that you also executed it. So that's the most important thing, that you try these tools out and also hit the publish button. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't mastered Hey Jen yet. So that's a little more difficult because it is getting in front of the camera, which I don't have a problem with. It's just, it's so much easier to just write the script.
Yes.
Um, but so I know you are an advocate and an evangelist. I see you out there giving demos to companies and clients all the time. I applaud you for your efforts. And how is that going? How is that? How do you find those opportunities? And then what's the kind of structure of the kind of ed tech that you're providing them?
You mean how I get to the speaking gigs in front of
Yeah,
companies?
yeah, to those companies. Yeah.
Okay, funny example. So we moved to another city a couple of months ago, And normally I give many virtual talks, and I see the value of being on stage, especially networking in a new city. So this week I have my second speaking gig at a marketing agency. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I have one meetup where I was on stage at they are an app programming company. So honestly, I just so the one I got was through Meetup. I just looked meetups in the city that we're living in Germany now, and I asked people, so how is it going? Would that topic would be interesting? And the other one this week, a lady contacted me through LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is my main channel. LinkedIn, and she contacted me and asked if I would be interested in to speak. So she asked me. So it's both ways. Sometimes I'm asking people, sometimes they are coming to me and asking, and that's basically how it works. And then it's in most cases it's a conversation. So I don't have one standard presentation. So I customize everything. So for example, this marketing agency that I'm speaking this week it is more about future trends of marketing for marketing teams. So one part will be the combination of voice and AI. This is a big thing, I think. So having I call it the Jarvis effect. So Jarvis is so I'm a big Avengers fan. So Jarvis is the personal assistant of Iron Man, and it's like speaking and having the hands free. And this is how I imagine the future. So that I'm cooking something for my kids and then saying, hey, it doesn't have to be Jarvis, it can be Luna or whatever. Create I need a topic, a blog article topic for our coming campaign next week. Can you search for questions that people have about AI tools, or what are AI trends currently? Yeah. And based on that, I got the answer. Like I'm speaking with Alexa, and he or she, you can choose yourself which voice your assistant should have. And then she's reading the topics, and then I'm saying, okay, create me one blog article and read it out loud. Okay, choose a couple of pictures with this scenario, and then everything. I'm commanding everything with my voice, basically. That's how I imagine it. And this is one topic that I'm going to speak about this week.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. I believe that is the future. I come from the kind of product design and user interface design world, let alone branding and marketing. And, there's a big discussion in the UX community. Where's this all going? And I have to say, it is going to voice, which means there is no interface other than the display of results of the things that you have asked for. But yes, hands-free, conversational AI, conversational prompting, that is the future. And the ubiquity of that happening in Google software, Microsoft software, I think it's just going to be ubiquitous and pervasive and so simple. And that's the way it should be, right? It should be like a conversation with your assistant, right?
Yes.
It's not, hey, I'm getting a robot to replace me. It's like, no, you ask a piece of software what you want it to do. It's personified as an assistant. How would you speak with your assistant? You would ask nicely and be specific about what you actually want. And you reward them when they deliver it right. Say, hey, perfect. Now, could you dive a little deeper, just like you talked about? So I think that example will help bring down the walls of these technology barriers, which with any new technology, there's always this, oh, I have to learn a new interface. Oh, I have to learn code. There's all these things you put in front of you that just keep you from doing it, right?
Yeah. I mean, what's the alternative if you? Well, yes, of course you have to learn something new. I always reminds me when Zig Ziglar was asked, why do I have to learn all these new things, and it's so stressful. And he said, yeah, being unemployed is also stressful. So what's the alternative? So you have to learn it, of course. I mean, it's like it's a window of opportunity. That's really what I believe in. And you can, it's always like with technology, you can say, well, I don't need that stuff. You can always say this.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we're not living in a dictatorship where we're not in China where you can say we build our own internet. So it's, yeah.
Yeah, no, what a wonderful age we live in, right? I just hope that it doesn't go off the rails at some point, and I'm hoping that the government and many governments, if not all of them, somehow band together and figure this out. There'll always be bad actors, but I think there are strides. I think Europe's probably leading. You're in Germany, but all eyes are on Europe, I think, because I don't know that the US is going to figure it out before Europe does.
Yeah, we have a lot of discussion in Europe about being competitive to compared with the US and China because of the AI Act. So many entrepreneurs, I have one AI consulting firm in Frankfurt, and the CEO is somebody that I really respect, and he's criticizing it to some degree, this whole AI Act, because he says it's weakening the competitive power of Europe, basically, because it's too rule based. That's what he's thinking, and to some degree I think he's right. So yeah, we will see.
Well, there's rules. Rules are made to be broken, but it's really it's the think tank, right? And discussions and some type of forum where you can have these discussions that have international participation and implications, that type of meaningful dialogue both between government and business and advocates need to all happen together. And we can't let big tech control this, because right now they're controlling it. OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, Nvidia, these are the players. Their stock price is skyrocketed, and here we are, big tech again, controlling the next version of the internet, which is AI. And even though it's empowering software, I think that entrepreneurs and advocates and evangelists need to have a very strong voice as the litigation of rules development and guidelines are being developed. We can't rely on big tech to do the right thing. We can't expect governments to understand much. And so it's really going to be the users that get in there and hopefully can advise and give some sage wisdom as these things are progressing so rapidly. It's crazy how quickly this has all happened. Hey, I have to say that you are a RealmIQ mentor as well. We're looking for opportunities to bring, a group of advocates to corporations, all with different expertise. At this point, we have legal covered, we have ethics covered, we have journalism covered, we have creative marketing, digital marketing, and so we think that we have an interesting collection of AI experts, and we're glad you're part of that. And do you have any events you want to talk about that are coming up that people need to know about?
So I'm speaking on the how to AI Impact Summit, I think. So you're also invited, right? You're also speaking.
I'm letting you pitch instead of me. But yeah, we're both at Impact November.
Yes, it's in November, right? So yeah, they're doing a lot of things. So that's one bigger AI event. So I already had one, the Women AI Summit,
Oh,
That was a couple of months ago, I think. So there are a couple of in the pipeline. So you will see. So I focus currently a lot international and also local, local in person.
uh-huh.
So and international more virtual, but we will see how it works, and maybe also some in person events. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe New York for you, maybe, huh?
Why not? I'm open for everything.
I lived in New York. My son lives in New York, so it's a great city to be involved with
It's
conferences. Yeah.
it's definitely on our bucket list. So last year we visited Florida, which was amazing. So we were invited to a wedding, and yeah, so Florida a second round would be great, but New York is also on the bucket list. Yes.
A great city.
Yeah.
Hey, well, listen, we want to keep these to around half an hour because anything longer is like really gonna sit there for an hour. So thanks so much for the discussion. We'll certainly have you back to talk about other things, certainly as things progress. But we are trying to do these sessions to elicit dialogue. There's a lot of people doing demos out there. You're one of them. I'm trying not to do that in this format because I think the conversation is important to have and have differing points of view, pros and cons, and just interesting dialogue, because I think this dialogue is important, and I think
Yes,
it will help adoption. And here we
definitely.
are, reaching across the pond and having a dialogue. Thank you so much. You're coming from Dusseldorf, right, in Germany?
Yes.
Okay. I'm coming from Santa Fe, New Mexico, in southwestern United States. And so thank you for joining, and come back again. And those who are watching, please come back again to watch more RealmIQ sessions. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, everyone. You can now catch RealmIQ sessions on your favorite podcast channels, including Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and iHeart Podcast. Or listen to the full sessions at curtdoty.co/RealmIQ. If your company is interested in reaching an audience of AI professionals and decision makers to promote your event or product, we do have sponsorship opportunities. If you enjoy these discussions on AI, please push that subscribe button below. I'll see you in the next video.
RealmIQ. Book your corporate AI workshop today.
Subscribe to our Media Slam newsletter and learn more about the intersection of design, content, and technology. CurtDoty.co. Branding, marketing, and product development.